in the description. Thank you so much if you have got any of my merch while it's been up. It's been received and supported by you guys so much better than I could have even imagined. So thank you so much. You've all been so kind about it. I'm so proud of it, and it's just done so well. And I'm sad to see it go, but once it's sold out, it's sold out. And I'm working on my next design soon, so keep your eyes peeled. But yeah, if you want to go and grab any of the merch before it's sold out, the link is in the description. Anyway, before we get into this case, I just want to thank our sponsor for this video, Urbanista. Recently, I've switched out my old earphones for Urbanista's London wireless earphones. Would make the money for his studio time and his new equipment and stuff. He was selling drugs from a very young age. Like I said, all of this was very normalized in that area that he came from. Him and all of his friends were just used to it. It was normal to see 14-year-olds involved in high-level crime like this. And he was actually selling drugs right up until 2009 when he met French Montana. And it was actually French Montana that told him to be careful with that, focus more on the music so that you don't have to do that stuff anymore. Anyway, he was known as Chinx Drugs. I went on so many different tangents to be able to tell you that story, but that's because his name came from a lot of different areas of his life. So he was known as Chinx Drugs. However, towards the end of his career, he dropped the drugs and was just known as Chinx. Probably because having the word drugs in your name is not very brand friendly, He, in his own words, he said Pepsi's not going to do anything with Chinx Drugs. So it was going to stop a lot of his kind of sponsorships and brand relations.
It's crazy how she telling us about, a story that we know about. I know how you Chicago niggas feel, man. Everybody telling y'all story and everything like that, man. I'm doing the Chinx reaction, man. I got this British chick. She got almost 1 million views. So I wanted to touch on her video. It's actually 50 minutes long, so I'm gonna be scrolling through it. I ain't gonna sit here the whole hour, but y'all get the drift, man.
He was really limiting what he could do. Anyway, around the age of 16, when Chinx began taking this all seriously, he gave himself the name Chinx Drugs. He met another kid with that same passion for hip-hop and rap that Chinx had. And this boy referred to himself as Stack Bundles. That was his rap name, Stack Bundles. And the two of them loved music and rapping so much, and they didn't...
Stack Bundles. She said that shit with efficiency. Rest in peace to my guys, man.
Know anyone else that really did. So they decided to come together and make music together, do it as a group. They set up a collective with a couple of other boys in the area, and this collective was known as Riot Squad. And they were all making music together in the early 2000s.
Shout out the whole Riot, man. Call 2Gs, Bino. Y'all know the vibes.
And they actually started to gain a bit of traction in the New York area. It was nothing big, it was nothing huge, wasn't enough to kind of make a living off of, but they were starting to, get known in those kind of New York circles. So in 2001, when Chinx was 17 years old, he's just starting to gain this buzz around his name. He met a girl named Janelle Caceres through a mutual friend. And as soon as he saw Janelle, he just thought she was so beautiful. He wanted to meet her. He wanted to know who that girl was. He actually saw Janelle and that mutual. Like I said, he was given 5 years and only served 3 of them and was set to be released in 2008. However, a year before he was released, Chinx got a call in prison. And this was Chinx's family calling to inform him that his best friend, Stack Bundles, had been shot and killed in his own apartment building. And Chinx was now in his mid-20s, and this...
Crazy story, right? When Chinx went to do that 5 years, me and him was in Ulster together, splitting bags of chips. If anybody know about how Reception is, so 2 Far Rock dudes in there. And we was from the same projects. We grew up as kids playing the same park and shit like that, running around the project. But yeah, we was in there when he was locked up. So around this time, I was in jail, when Stack died and this died. And Chinx, this nasty work, though. Shout out to the British girl looking like Dewdrop from WWE.
really, really affected him. This was his best friend. This was the man he worked with, the man he shared this passion for music with, the man that saw his vision. They saw each other's vision. They helped each other so much. His rock had been killed. And so when he was in prison, he was still serving time, he decided that he was going to give up music. He didn't want to do it without Stack. It didn't feel right. And he'd already had like 2 years off it anyway. And he just thought when he got out of prison, he was going to move on with his life. He was going to get a proper job and whatever. But when Chinx did get out of jail the following year, he realized that the whole time he'd been away, his best friend, Stack Bundles, had been promoting Chinx and his music and keeping his name relevant and current. He was putting Chinx's name in his songs. All of these new friends that...
She actually going off. She talking her smack right now. If anybody, shout out the old girl, man, because she definitely did her thing on this documentary. So I think I covered the right drink. I ain't even hold ya.
Stack Bundles was meeting, because Stack was then like gaining more and more traction as Chinx was in jail, and it then kind of put them on an uneven playing field in terms of how many streams and stuff they were getting. Stack was now getting more than Chinx was, because Chinx hadn't done anything in a while. And so Stack was going out, he was meeting other rappers, he was making friends and connections, networking, and that whole time he didn't have to do this, but he was telling all these new people XXL freshman class, which if you're into the hip-hop world, I'm sure you know what the XXL freshman class is.
Damn! Wow! Oh, let's go find you something fit for a prince.
Got ads and all that.
It's basically XXL is a huge magazine publication, kind of news outlet in hip-hop, and every year they have what is called the freshman class, which is about 10 up-and-coming rappers, hip-hop stars. Now they even include producers, I think, or at least they have new up-and-coming producers on the cyphers. And anyway, they choose these 10 different freshmen because they believe they're going to go on to do amazing things. That is exactly what the freshman class is. And although Chinx didn't get in his freshman class, it's an honor to even be considered. In the 2015 class...
What the fuck is she talking about? She said, although he didn't get in. Yeah, but we talking about him. I mean, I don't know.
There were people like Goldlink and Vince Staples, and Chinx's name was considered alongside those kind of people. So you know how much...
Hold on. Chinx is better than everybody in that picture. Let's go back to that.
And anyway, they choose these 10 different freshmen because they believe they're going to go on to do amazing things. That
Chinx
is
is better than
exactly what the
everybody in
freshman
that
class
picture, I
is.
think. Like,
And
it was probably like only Days
Chinx
Loaf.
didn't get in his
She
freshman
couldn't.
class,
Come on, let's be for real.
it's an honor to even be considered. In the 2015 class, there were people like Goldlink and Vince Staples, and Chinx's name was considered alongside those kind of people. So you know how much faith XXL had in him as an artist. So anyway, as Chinx was getting more and more famous, he was more and more popular, he began getting a lot of female attention, often from famous women as well. And despite him being married to his long-term girlfriend, now wife, Janelli, they had 3 kids together. They'd been together over a decade. You know, they were going so strong. Chinx began seeing other women behind Janelli's back. I'm not sure how many...
She blasting the music right now, y'all. I don't know where y'all found Dewdrop at, but she is definitely like digging in some mustard right now. I gotta watch her.
Many women in total Chinx did this with, and I'm not sure how serious each woman was as well. However, he was with Janelli all the way up until his death, so there's no way to know how many women he was doing this with and for how long he was doing this with. What
does this have to do with
that Chinx was seeing outside of his marriage was Malika Hack. Now, if you don't know who Malika Hack is, she is Chloe Kardashian.
There you go. She confirmed my son Chinx was knocking off one of the twins from ATL. One of Chloe homegirls, Malika Hawk. I mean, you know how that go, man. Like, shit. you in these public circles, man, you around these. She ain't nobody spectacular at the end of the day. Like, you know, he could have definitely had somebody that was, you know, more prestigious than her at the end of the day. So, you know, I ain't gonna even hold you, man. You know, certain shit should just be left out, man. That man ain't here to defend himself, and you don't know what it was unless you was up in there with them.
Kardashian's best friend, or at least she was. I don't know if they still are now. So she was on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. That is like what she was best known for. She then went on to go on to UK's Big Brother, Celebrity Big Brother. Chinx was also kind of seeing Erica Mena for a while. She denies that they were ever an official thing.
Nah, I ain't know my son Chinx was knocking off Erica Mena. I actually like her. Shout out Erica, man. Ow. My son. Yo, shorty violating right now, so I did not know she had all this. Please excuse me, everybody. This is crazy.
Erica Mena, another hip-hop artist, reality star, she was on Love and Hip Hop. Erica said that she and Chinx were just close friends, and, you know, they did have a thing for each other, but out of respect for his marriage, his wife, they never kind of took that further.
As she
However,
should.
French Montana, in different interviews, he said that Chinx and Erica were definitely a thing at one point. Chinx was living what Erica described as a double life.
All right,
you know,
we
a
not
lot of
gonna keep
rappers
doing this.
had been stalking Chinx's car for some time, just waiting for an opportunity like this one. So this looked like the killer was someone that Chinx knew, or at least someone that knew Chinx, whether it was like a personal matter with an enemy, or was it someone that just knew of Chinx, knew that he was a rapper with a lot of money, you know? There was probably money, phones, things like that in this car. However, there was no money stolen from the scene. Chinx still had his phone on him, things like that. Like, the car wasn't stolen. So robbery was low down on the list of motives that police had. It didn't seem like this was an attempted robbery. And because the shots were mainly fired at Chinx, well, all of them were fired at Chinx. None of them were intentionally fired at Asiadi. It seemed as though it was more of a personal matter. It was someone going looking for Chinx. So this was going to be a hard one for police to solve.
It's fucked up. You got niggas in the world that just want to kill you just for being, you know, a nigga that they know of, or you, man. I knew boy, shit, at the time, 2015. I want to say I knew him over 20 years. I don't see him giving off any type of anything to make a person ever want to kill him. So that shit was just bullshit. Like, a nigga had problems with him somewhere. Like, my nigga, get the fuck out of here.
Solved because, like I said, there was no security cameras in the area, and there was no DNA left at the scene or anything like that because, of course, the shooter didn't come inside the car. They didn't touch the car. In the days following Chinx's death, Janelle had to try to explain to her 3 children, including a 4-year-old, their 4-year-old son, that their father was with God's angels and he wasn't coming back. And it was especially hard because now the world knew about Chinx's family. It was never fully a secret before, you know, like, people knew of Janelle and the kids, but he wasn't posting it everywhere. If you weren't digging deep into Chinx's life as like a super fan, you probably wouldn't know. But now the world knew. And now there were news reporters, there were paparazzi outside of his home taking pictures of his children, of his grieving family. How is a family supposed to grieve when that's going on? Especially because to them and to his kids, Chinx wasn't, you know, this world famous rapper. He was just their dad. Meanwhile, the police investigation into Chinx's murder.
Yeah, this was nasty work. Shorty definitely did her homework when it come to the life and times of Chinx. I give her that. It's just certain stuff, you know, she was digging in too deep. Like, that's why, like, probably I'm not as famous as I could be, because I be leaving a lot of stuff out that could be going in these stories. I don't like how they keep putting his family
drama. We already knew months ago, and me, you, and him were handling it privately and respectfully. all very mature how they were handling this. It was clear that everyone in this situation just wanted the best for this baby, and they were all supporting each other, especially now that Chinx was gone. The two women grew closer. There were also rumours around this time that Chinx had gotten another woman pregnant, a stripper named Larima Davis. However, I couldn't find too much past like 2000.
She's trying to find side chicks and everything. Like, damn, this is where documenting people's life goes wrong, man. Oh my God.
Ruined Quincy's whole life for that amount of years that he was on Rikers Island. And then when Chinx got out of jail, Quincy Homer had to watch this man that ruined his reputation in jail be successful. He had to watch Chinx gaining traction, meeting people like French Montana and Jadakiss.
So she's talking about the dude that he got into it with that led up to everything that's locked up right now. Quincy.
And Jeremiah and Ty Dolla $ign collabing with them, getting thousands and thousands of streams, being this huge celebrity. And what was Quincy doing? Still trying to make it as a rapper, but being really unsuccessful. Yet this man that ruined his life is doing it 10 times better than he ever will. And now police discovered that Chinx and Quincy Homer had yet another run-in in 2015, so just a couple of months before Chinx was killed. They were at a party in Miami, and Chinx was there with all of his, famous rapper friends, French Montana, Uncle Murder. There were other people there as well. And Quincy Homer was trying to be friends with all of these big rappers. But Chinx had told all of his friends, French Montana, all of those kind of people, that Quincy was a snitch and that they shouldn't associate themselves with him because he's a liability. He might snitch on them one day. And so no one wanted to speak to Quincy at this party. Not only did they have...
So they're saying dude was a rat that killed Chinx, basically. And Chinx, put the peoples on that he was a rat. And
their loyalties to Chinx instead of Quincy.
She probably got all this shit off of Twitter, too. That'd be the fucked up shit about it. She's from a whole nother country. None of this shit was ever published that she's coming out with, technically, right? She got all this shit off Twitter until we find out further. I don't care what nobody say.
They also just didn't want to associate with anyone like that because these rappers, they do a lot of things, They have these double lives. They don't want a snitch in their crew. And so they made Quincy feel ostracized at this party. And that only made Quincy's hatred for Chinx boil over. Maybe it was a combination of hatred and jealousy. Jealousy that Chinx has got everything that Quincy has ever wanted, but Quincy just can't get it because Chinx also ruined his reputation, ruined his chance of ever getting that. And maybe Quincy was so angry and so upset that all of this came to a head in 2015 when Chinx was back home in New York. Maybe Quincy got word that Chinx was back in New York and decided that now was his time, that he was going to get rid of Chinx. Chinx had actually posted his location on his Instagram story that night when he was at that club. So it's likely that maybe Quincy was just waiting for his opportunity to find out where Chinx was. So as police looked more and more into this theory, they found...
So she's saying that Chinx dropped his location at the club he was at, and dude got wind of it because I guess he was following him on Instagram or somebody was following him and they tracked him down. This is what she's saying. I ain't saying she ain't said. She said it. I was in prison. I don't.
Found another suspect that could have also been involved, 26-year-old Jamar Hill. Again, Jamar Hill was a very serious criminal that had spent a large percentage of his adult life in prison for violent crimes. And while police believed that there was only one shooter in this case, there was only one person that fired those shots at Chinx, they were also pretty certain that there'd been a getaway driver as well, some kind of accomplice, and Jamar Hill was Quincy Homer's right-hand man. So police decided to use a technique that is...
So they saying Jamar and Quincy killed Chinx. She got the whole story right here. I'm just doing a reaction to it. I think, a lot of it was definitely accurate, but it was definitely, 50% fabrication with a lot of stuff they be doing. They be ODing and this shit. These people be just...
It's called dumping a cell phone tower, where they can kind of look at a cell phone tower in a particular area and see every single phone that connected to that cell phone tower in a particular time frame. Every single time you go on your phone, like even just to unlock it, or someone sends you a text, your phone refreshes in some kind of way, it bounces off a cell tower. So you can imagine how many times a minute your phone that they'd managed to avoid the police from. They were charged with those as well, and they were just all stacking up on top of each other. Police believe that specifically Quincy Homer was the killer. He was the one that got out of the car and fired these shots at Chinx, killing him. And Jamar Hill was his getaway driver, his accomplice, and they both stayed silent all these years. They were both given a murder charge, even though police knew pretty much that Jamar didn't fire the gun. I don't actually know why they were both given the exact same charge. I mean, he did enable Quincy to murder Chinx by giving him the car. They probably both planned it together. It was just Quincy that got out of the car and fired the shots, This murder was a team effort between both of those men, and so both of them were sentenced to 25 years to life in prison, and they're still there now. Chinx's family, his friends...
There you go. Jamal and Quincy crashed out because they wanted to steal the fame from Chinx. You couldn't steal the fame. What a hater gonna do? A hater gonna try to knock you off your motherfucking pivot, man. That's what haters do. Jamal and Quincy, y'all niggas is hoes for that. Y'all ain't had to kill that man. He ain't deserve that. And y'all niggas, I don't wish jail on nobody, but y'all niggas got what y'all deserve, man, for killing that man for no reason, man. It's your boy Ty West. I'm gonna see you on that next one, though. Out. Off this.